Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony. Welcome back on Inter Worldwide. And before I get into anything, I would like to introduce actually, no, it's not my guest. I'd like to introduce my co-host for this awesome segment. It's Alejandro from the Bianconero Zone. Bianconeri Zone, sorry. Ale, ¿cómo estás, my friend? How are you?
I'm good. It's finally back. Real football is back. No international break. So yeah, good, I guess. Kind of rested for 2 weeks. Didn't really watch much any football. And now it's going to be hectic every 3 days, basically, for both of us. So can't wait.
Teams need a chance to get into the groove of things, man. In what world can teams start their season with 2 domestic weeks and then go on an international break? It's madness, bro. Vent it for a little bit. Let's get it out of the air before we move on to the real stuff.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's weird. It's actually very weird. I think everybody was kind of complaining this summer. Most teams were like, oh, the Serie A or like the league starts and the transfer window is open, which I do agree on. It's weird, but you need to kind of, if you want to step away from it, every league needs to do that, obviously, because now the Turkish league can buy players. Like everything needs to be reinformed. So that's never going to happen. But I never see anyone complaining about, okay, 3 weeks in trying to build your new team, they go away for 2 weeks. Nobody complains about that, but I think that's even worse in my opinion. But it wasn't that bad for Juve because a lot of players stayed. So yeah, it was just bad. There was no Juve. That's the only bad thing.
Yeah. I think both of our sides come back from this international break fairly fresh and injury free as well, which is good. Any comments at all on the Nations League? What did you make of Belgium?
I don't support Belgium, so but I watched. Okay, I watched France against Belgium. They're not good. They don't have a backline, so they're not going to go anywhere. I watched France, Italy. They were good, Italy. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really up for international week. I'm going to the Belgium-Italy game. I have my tickets because it's over here. But other than that, like tournaments are fun, but like Nations League and stuff, I don't get up for it personally. Yeah. Like it's hard to get up for it.
Yeah, exactly. I feel you, man. And I'm not about to sacrifice sleep in this country for Nations League. That's for sure. Big up to some people in the chat. Zia, it's nice to see you. Thanks for your message this morning. Hello, Debbie, resident channel member. Thank you, Mattia, as well. Hello, 10 Toes Down. Good to see some people in the chat. And thank you to the 17 people that are here right now. Let's go right into it. Our favorite league in the world is back. And, you know, it's slightly cause for celebration, but it's going to turn to business pretty quickly. Both of our clubs have some pretty serious expectations that would like to fulfill. And, you know, the expectation is to pretty much take control from here. Spend as much time as you can on top, or at least within touching distance of the summit, and make sure that at the turn of the new year, when the fixtures and the nitty gritty come and you can lay out your calendar, you're ready to go full steam ahead. And to be in that position, you need to start collecting points. And, you know, you've got two people on this show now who are never going to make excuses for dropping points. So I'll give my co-host a chance to speak a little bit first. Good start to the season. Obviously, still a couple of things that could be worked on, but progressive football, good movement, the anti-Allegri sort of thing that you guys really needed, regardless of what certain fans were saying at the end of the season and the start of this season. The players look like they're enjoying themselves a little bit more. Where do you see them going from here? And what were your thoughts on the first two games of your boys?
Well, I mean, it was always going to need time, especially when you bring in key players like the last week of the transfer window. Then you always need time. The first two games, the first two games we played with the same team we had last season, but with some next gen players in it. So I cannot complain because we look good in them. You know, it's Como, it's Verona. Actually, Verona are decent, I think, this season. I don't think Como are any good. But we did that, you know, with Savona in the lineup and Bancula. Nobody actually knew about these players at the start of the season, to be honest. We did it with those players and we won. We did it without any real issues. We look good, you know, defensively as well. We look good. So I don't have any complaints. Like going into the first three games, I was like, if possible, pick up the 9 points, but especially don't look all over the place. Just look capable, basically. And we look capable. The Roma game wasn't good. You know, I was at the game. I was at the stadium, and it wasn't fantastic because Roma did what my biggest concern was, you know, hand the ball to our center backs, and we don't have a ball playing center back. And like Roma came for the point, and they got the point, and we didn't have an answer to break them down. I know we chucked in Colt Miners and Conceição and Gonzalez, but that's more of a not desperate, but like they just signed a couple of days before. It's just go out there and maybe you guys make it happen, you know. But we didn't look all over the place against Roma, so I kind of appreciate that. So I'm cool, you know, with the start of the season. Long way to go. We will fall a couple of times, 100%, you know, because we have a lot of new players. Like we signed 8-9 new players, and that's not including a player like Mbangula and Savona, who are actually highly regarded by Mota. So yeah, man, it's not gonna look. It's not gonna look like you guys, you know, because we know how Inter are gonna look. Like you've been doing it for 3 years now, and you're just building on that. Right now, we are trying to build on year one. This is year one for us, and it's gonna take some time, but I can't complain. Start of the season, I'll take that 7 points out of 9 with the first two games. Same theme with some next gen players. I'll take that, you know. So I'm happy. I'm pleased so far.
That's good. Who's stood out for you so far, and why? What have you been impressed with players?
Ooh, actually, Gatti. He's one of them. I don't rate him. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the biggest Gatti fan, but he looked composed. Like that's a perfect word to be. Usually, or last season, he looked all over the place. You know, it looked like he was gonna kill us every single time. You know, right now he looks composed. He looks calm down, and he's playing at a high level. You know, so I'm impressed with that. Other than that, I think Locatelli slightly looks getting back to his older level, which is good. And then Savona, I think probably Savona is the biggest of shock, you know, because even against Roma, he had an unlock, you know, so I'm pleased with that. I cannot complain. Yeah, man, that's kind of, and we look defensively because when we signed Mota or we brought in Mota, everybody, I think there's a I don't know. I think people got misled. Mota doesn't play champagne football. It's just very effective football. Like defensively, we look solid. So I can appreciate that. you know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, you missing Chiesa?
No, no, we're not missing Chiesa. Not really. I guess against Roma we missed something. I think that was obvious, but it's not Chiesa. It was just players in general at that time. You know. I like Chiesa, but I think we need to move on. You know, it's not that he set the world on fire after his injury. He didn't. You know, and now it's up to the other guys to step up and because in the first 3 games, actually in Bangola, I had 1 goal, 2 assists, and 1 pen for Vlahovic. So we had kind of 4 goal involvements almost. To be honest, that's more than Chiesa had in a 10-game stretch. So did we miss him? Not really, but it's done. He's gone. I wish him the best of luck. I don't hate Chiesa. I know a lot of people, Juve fans, flipped on it, but it's just how it went, and we need to deal with it right now. We're not losing a player who was at his peak. Like, that's all I can say.
Absolutely. As far as it goes on our end, boys are fresh. Hopefully, we can live up to the hype and the expectations because it's real. There won't be any excuses from me, but it's a funny league, and Inter are a funny side. Serie A is a league where when you drop a couple of points, you can drop half a dozen points, and then a dozen points can turn into 10 points over the course of half of those games. And when it starts happening, it's hard to slow down. So we need to get back to business right away. Monza isn't going to be easy, but it's the sort of team that we need to win because if you're going to have the tag of title favorites, you beat Monza in the season. I think most fans are very excited about the rise in form in a couple of players. I'm going to say most notably Marcus Thuram. He had a very good first season, but his start to the season has been, I'm not even going to call it great. I'm actually going to call it terrific. He's just everywhere. It's not even about his goal contributions at the moment. It's just about his presence and how far he can actually carry the ball, how well he can hold the ball up. He really is a fantastic footballer, but I would actually call him more of a fantastic athlete and than a fantastic footballer, though. But I have high expectations for him this season, man. As everybody knows, I'm Nico Barella's biggest fanboy. Scream for him like he's in like the lead singer of a boy band. And I think that world-class goal is just the cherry on top of what he's going to add to this side moving forward mentally, physically, and technically on the pitch. He's got his family life sorted, and it's going to be catalytic. That's going to be catalytic. Him closing the book on raising it from having kids. Other than that, as long as we can stay injury free at the back, bro, because Acerbi and De Vrij is just making me nervous. It's making me nervous. I don't know if those two guys have got it in them to play consistently well throughout the season. De Vrij especially. Yeah. De Vrij is definitely a little bit mistake prone, but Inzaghi always figures it out. He knows how to figure it out.
Yeah, because if that's not gonna work, then it's not. You don't have a lot of options, right? Like, it's maybe something you should have addressed in the summer. I don't know what the budget was for you guys, but maybe that's one of the areas where you probably should have done something. No, because you brought in Zielinski and you brought in a striker on a free, but I think that backline probably should have, I don't know, had something. Because I think we needed to do that. We didn't really. Yeah, you got Kalulu at the end, but I think that's our weak point right now. And I kind of think that's like Inzaghi always find a way. I agree with that. He does find a way. I'm not that high on De Vrij, so I kind of agree with you. Like I'm not the biggest De Vrij fan. Never really was, to be honest. But Inzaghi always finds a way, in my opinion. Maybe against Genoa, that was kind of I think just heads got lost in that game towards the end. I'm not sure what happened. Just stay composed, and for some reason they didn't. But against Atalanta, I actually watched that Atalanta game, and I know a lot of people are saying Atalanta were rubbish defensively. They weren't good defensively, but still, it's not. A team can be poor defensively. You still need to put them away, and you did that. And they didn't really cause you any problems, and that's actually Gasperini team that usually causes any team problems, even at the start of the season. So I get your concern with that, but like you said, usually Inzaghi has shown that he will find a solution.
Yeah,
So
well, if you take the handball away from Bisek, I'm pretty sure we would have closed out the game against Genoa anyway. So we would have been sitting here
yeah,
probably with 9 out of 9. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself because, as I said, you can drop games in Serie A very easily, and then panic mode can set in. But I think, as I said, we both expect to collect more points than not, and more points than the rest, except for maybe Napoli. But we'll get to the rest of Serie A later on in the show. What will this month bring? Well, your fixtures and my fixtures, winnable. They start to get a little intense. I'll just list yours first, and then we'll list ours, and then we'll go into match day 4. Empoli for you guys away. Then next week you host Napoli in a difficult week for us as well. You will then go away to Genoa, not an easy task, and you will then then we're moving into October. So by staying pretty much in September, focusing on these 3 games, you travel to Empoli and Genoa, and in between that, you face Napoli. What's your
yeah,
outlook here, man? How many points are you going to get? How's the team going to go?
we should get 9 points. Like there's a Champions League game. We'll talk about that later. Sandwich in between. Well, next week we kick off actually with the first game of the entire season. Funnily enough, so that needs to be taken into consideration. But like tomorrow we need to win. Like Empoli, I'll repeat myself because I did a preview. Like Empoli are the team who hands the ball the most to the opponent, and we are the team who claims possession most so far. It's going to be one of those games. It's just up to us. Can we break them down? We have enough quality. We should be breaking them down. The Napoli one, I think everybody's kind of like Juve fans are really concerned because it's Antonio Conte and they don't have Europe and they only have one game to focus, so on, so on. I'm gonna sit here and I will be pissed if we don't beat Napoli at home because I don't think Napoli are that good. I have them finishing third because I don't really rate a lot of the other teams as well this season. But again, Empoli, Napoli, I'm more concerned about that Genoa game. Genoa away, Sampdoria if they're in the league, Verona away. Those are games I 100% hate being a Juve team because for some reason you go away to these teams, you absolutely smash them, or it's a horror show. There's no in between. Like there's nothing in between. It's like an easy game or a game you absolutely want to forget the moment the whistle gets blown. Because you guys play Genoa, and you should have won that game, but it wasn't a game. I don't think you came out of that and you're like, we were amazing. I know first game of the season, but like it's Genoa away. They're on top of you every single time, no matter who they have playing. They can be absolutely rubbish. It's just they're up for that game always.
Yeah.
So probably that's a tough, but I want 9 points. We need 9 points. It's just because I can talk about, we're not ready, so on, so on. Napoli as well. Like if I ask you what is Napoli starting midfield, I think nobody can answer me that question right now. What is their starting midfield? Have you seen their backline? I know it's Antonio Conte, but I don't think we should be scared of playing Napoli at home. Actually, that should be a win, without a doubt. So I'm expecting 9 points. I think that's realistic. I don't think that's like going overboard. Like it's games you should be winning if you want to get back up there. And I know we will have games that we should win. We're not going to win because it's the first season of a lot of new things. But expectation wise, I need 9 points. I need tomorrow to warm up for the Champions League, and then I need to go at home against Napoli. I need that first big win of the season, because we didn't do that against Roma, and that's fine. It's the third game of the season, but if you want to compete, then you need to win the big games at home, and that's the second one. And there are no excuses. Like going into the Napoli game next week, I will make no excuses. I'm not gonna say, "Oh, we play Champions League." Nah, like if players are tired, then okay, if Douglas Luiz cannot play, them Fagioli plays or Turan plays or whatever, Conceição if he's back, Gonzalez, like we have options. So that I'm not going to do because people are saying, like I said, Antonio Conte has only one game a week. Yeah, but we have a lot more options than Napoli. So I'm not going to complain about that. If somebody is not 100% ready, then the next one shows up. So
No, I love it. No excuses. Not doubling and tripling down on excuses early in the season in case expectations fall short. And I love it. And we're not going to do that either. you know, if you're going to sit there and tell me that you need 9 points from Empoli, Napoli, and Genoa, well, guess what, my friend? We need 9 points from Monza, Milan, definitely, and Udinese. And like you, I fear the away trips more than the game against Anthony Lafleur's boys. And I mean, I don't try to mean it disrespectfully, even though there is an undertone of banter and disrespect in the comment. But you know, we own this city and have for the last couple of years, at least for the last 2.5 years, and they haven't been able to touch us. They're not in a good place at the moment. And if we are serious about winning another title, we need to show it in a derby where we are the home team. The ticket allocation is going to be, you know, grossly favored in our favor, and our fans can really turn it on. You know, they can really psych the shit out of Milan early in that game. All form goes out the window, and it would definitely be, you know, the most Inter thing in the world, and it wouldn't be the first time where the dominant side lost a derby in the season. So the betting side of me might hedge a 2-1 to Milan, but every other side of me and every point of logic says that Inter's going into the derby in September to crush it. It starts with Monza, and like you said, European football's back this week. It's going to be absolute nuts. You've got the options. We've got the options. I think clubs are very much in the know that rotation is a must. It's not really an option. It's not a matter of if, it's just when that you're going to have to rotate your men. So hopefully everybody's up for it. I think everybody will be up for it against Monza. When is the game, actually? It is Monday morning for me, 4:45 in the morning. So could probably wake up.
Yeah,
Could probably
but
wake
actually,
up like 15 minutes in, maybe.
for you, okay, for you it's always tough. But like we played 3 games at 6 o'clock on Saturday. That's ridiculous. Actually, we play Milan in a couple of weeks at 6 o'clock. Like the top match, absolute top match, like probably the best game of the week at 6 o'clock European time. That's criminal. Like they're doing that, and then I read an article that viewerships are going down. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like it's Sunday and you're playing a top game at 6. Like it's always gonna. That's 6 p.m. like European time. It's not. It's weird. Like for a top game, that's weird. Like that's very strange behavior. I'm not sure what the plan is there. But for you, it's always gonna be bad. So I'm like, maybe I'm complaining, but you're always in a weird situation. I guess you need to wake up for those games, but I don't know. Like
Go on.
No, it's like Saturday 6. I also hate that. Like Saturday, it's like you work, and then Saturday it's like the day off basically, and then it's like 6 o'clock, and I'm like, you need to get back home to watch the game, and when the game is done, you don't really want to go anywhere else. You know, the kind of the day is met. Like 6 o'clock is criminal. Like a couple of years back, it didn't exist. Like I remember Juve played 3 o'clock on a Sunday, like real calcio hour, every single week. The last time Juve played at 3 o'clock, I'm not gonna lie, the last 2 seasons, maybe 4 times we played at 3 o'clock, like the usual standard old calcio hours. We don't play at 3 o'clock. I hate it, but it is what it is, I guess, man.
Didn't they change something a couple of years ago to include more games, like spread out apart from each other?
And still the viewership went down. So yeah, it's actually going down, by the way. Like it's down compared to last season. Like charging for more money, definitely it's not gonna help when DAZN is one of the worst things out there. Like it glitches, it's terrible, and they're charging people more money. Like Italians are not gonna buy it. They're just not gonna buy it. They will find other ways to watch games. Like it is what it is. But yeah, 6 o'clock, it's not fun.
No, I'm not a fan of late Sunday sports as well. And we've got a bad habit in this country at the moment of our main sport, I guess you could say, is NRL, Rugby League, and AFL, Australian Football League. But they've got a really bad habit of starting these games at like 7:50 p.m., 8 o'clock p.m. kickoffs on a Friday night and a Saturday. But it's just pretty late. And they do one game a week on a Thursday night as well. And they'll do the kickoff at 8 p.m. Like, what the hell, man? Kids are already going to bed at 8 p.m. on a school night, and you're robbing a whole young generation of being able to stay up and watch sport the way we used to. We used to have games kick off at like 6:50, 7 p.m. But yeah, I think it's all just part of a plan to just keep dragging out viewership, because everybody knows that no matter where you are in the world, your packages are ridiculous at the moment. I don't know anybody
Yeah.
that's happy anywhere with streaming services, with sports services. I don't know any satisfied customers, man.
No, because it's like I don't know how it's there, but like over here now they change it, but like it's different over here in Belgium because you cannot if the Champions League football is with your provider. So if you
Mm,
wanted to watch Champions League football, you needed to flip provider. So new
yep.
like the phone, everything needed to change. It's insane. Like it's
Yeah.
actually nobody was doing that. Like nobody's gonna change the entire setup just because you want to watch Champions League. People will find other ways, and then they
Yeah.
can talk about what's the slogan like what is killing football pirate like streaming illegal streaming is
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's killing
I'm
football. Yeah.
like you're driving people into doing that. Don't complain
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Like you need
Yeah,
a
yeah.
1,000 subscriptions to watch your team play for Coppa Italia for this. Like it's you guys. You're killing the game, not we. Like actually we're keeping it alive. We're keeping this bullshit alive because at one point people are stopped doing it. And then you guys are screwed.
Yeah.
Because there will be a
Everyone,
time
everyone
where
who saw that,
people
everyone who saw that was like, "This is audacious as shit of them to say." Unbelievable hypocrites.
yeah, because at one point people are like, this is not worth it. I'm not gonna pay 100 euros or dollars worth of subscription each month to watch my team play different competitions. I'm just not gonna do it. It will happen. It will collapse at one point. You know, I don't know if you watch
Yeah.
NFL. Probably not, I guess.
No.
That's even worse because they have games on like local streams, then they have 2 games exclusive on Prime or Peacock on YouTube or Amazon, and you need to buy them each. Like it's insane. Like it's actually insane. It's not worth it. At one point, people will stop actually caring.
Yeah.
They will because
Yeah.
money is more value than at the end of the day than sports.
100%. That was an interesting conversation for an interesting Serie A. Not really about what's going on the pitch, but very, very interesting. Let's have just a little quick look over here as we talk a little bit about the rest of Serie A to start this season. It's going to be an interesting season, bro. I just decided to go straight for Google. I'm not really bothered getting another website up, but looking at the games so far this season, you can obviously you can't tell much, but you can definitely start to see who's going to struggle to get the points to reach their objectives. And I'm going to pretty much just start from the bottom. I think that you will see Como and Venezia very much struggle. I like Como's chances of maybe pulling together to get something from Bologna this weekend. But you saw that Rafael Varane has already not been registered for Serie A. Like, what the hell? Do they even have to pay him fully for the whole season now? I don't know. But there's your first disaster, because even his presence in the locker room and on the pitch just would have lifted the side altogether in some dire moments. It's looking thin for them. And you know what? Venezia don't look so crash hot either.
No, they're
I think
terrible.
I think by the end of this season, you're going to look at Bologna like, have you ever seen a bigger fall from one season to the next from them? Because they're really going to struggle mentally to even come close, Ale, to riding a fraction of the high that they had last season. Mentality and psyche counts for a lot in this sport, and they are dangerously going to hang around, not as low as they are now, but they'll be
No.
around 13, 14, 15 this season.
You know what, Bologna, like when people talked about last season, even last season, they didn't have a fantastic squad. Nobody was talking about Calafiori or Zirkzee or Ferguson at the start of the season. That was a fantastic coaching job. I'm not saying that because Motta is now the coach of Juve, but in general, if you look at that squad right now, it's not good. Like it's not good. I cannot believe that Italiano went there. I like Italiano a lot, but I'm not sure what the plan was behind that move. I'm not sure because that team is not loaded with quality. They will definitely go up, but yeah, like finishing fourth, that's definitely not gonna happen. Not even close. And Venezia, they're horrible. They're probably the worst side in the league. Like quality
Yeah.
wise, if they don't finish bottom of the league, fantastic. Like amazing. Because quality wise, they have the worst squad.
Yeah, I think Como and Venezia, like there's going to be a bit of a gulf between the rest of the teams and these two.
Parma is the real
Yeah.
team because actually against they should have won that game against Napoli. Like 2 red cards, player in goal, like even that last goal, if that's a goalkeeper, he saves that. Like that's that's just straight at him. I don't know what, but again, they should have not lost that game against Napoli. They are a fun, especially at home. They're going to be a tough team to beat, Parma, because they play not what you would expect from a team coming up. Like they play freely, without any pressure. I think they have just a mindset of we can sit deep here, but we're probably just gonna kill ourselves. So at least let's have a go. And
Yeah,
that's what they're
I
doing
mean,
right now. And
they
yeah.
impressed preseason. I remember when they smacked Atalanta. I know it was
Oh
just a
yeah.
friendly, but I
That was
think
fun.
they were a little bit upset when they went out in the Coppa Italia. But I think that's just galvanized them a little bit, knowing that they've only just got to focus on, staying up, so to speak. But staying up comfortably would be a great gift to their fans. And so far, they've probably had the hardest fixtures of any of the three
Yeah.
teams that have had to come up. Fiorentina, Milan, and Napoli. And far out, man, they've come away with 4 points.
Yeah.
So good for them. Talk to me a
Empoli
little bit.
7 actually is insane.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I watched part of that Roma game where they won away to Roma. I didn't know they were sitting 7 because they are a team. They just set back and they will
Yeah.
counter the shit out of you for 90 minutes. That's what they're gonna do. Just sit back, and when you make a mistake, they will pounce on it. It's like 5 points is ridiculous because it's the quality wise, it's not a good team. Better
No, it's
than
not.
some of the others, but 5 points, that's actually crazy. Didn't lose.
No,
Beat
they
Roma away
haven't
from
lost
home.
yet. No, you're right. Well, I'm hoping some Sebastiano Esposito can get some minutes there and can get some goals this season, just to at least give him a little bit of value. But I'm sure you guys were very sad to see one of your club legends, a real superstar, and someone that I thought could have really contributed to Juve for another few years in Deschilio go to Empoli.
He's actually beefing Juve, by the way, in the media. I cannot
Oh, you
believe it.
see, I didn't see that. What for?
He said when he got presented, he said, I didn't get a chance since I came back from Inchi. I'm like, you were stealing money of us. Like, don't talk about chances. And the weird part is the Empoli coach did his presser today, and he said he's not fit, but he asked me to be on that bench for this game, so I'm gonna bring him on the bench. I'm like, what is this? Like, what alternative reality show am I on? Like, Deschilio we gave that guy a career. We gave him trophies. We gave him millions for doing absolutely nothing, and he's beefing us. I'm like, get out of here. Like, just unbelievable. But yeah,
Man. How long until De Rossi turns this
ooh,
around? Or or is he in risky business here?
um, they look good. They look good against us. Like defensively, they look good. They look good in shape. I think you know what it is. They signed Sule, Dybala stayed, and people are like, and they signed Dovbyk, and everybody's like, oh my god. I'm still not sure how that's gonna work to get them all three on the pitch. That back line wasn't good. I know they signed Hermoso and Hummels right now, so that should be improving. I don't rate that midfield.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, Pellegrini, yeah, on his day, but other than that, I'm not really sure what that's all about. They will come. They will not be this poor. I think the way they played against us is probably a good base for them. A starting point. A starting point. They didn't create anything, but they didn't concede anything as well. So that might be a starting point. But yeah, I mean, they have quality enough to not be this poor. I will say this.
Yeah.
They should be
Well
doing
said.
better. What's their next game? It's a Genoa away.
Yeah, Genoa, Venezia, their next 2 games, or Genoa, Monza, Venezia. I just had it up on the
I
screen, but I
mean,
forgot. But they're winnable games. They're in between
yeah.
that. They play sorry, it was Genoa, Udinese, and then they play Bilbao in the Europa League.
Okay, so it's win. It's doable.
Of course, this is football in 2024.
It's too early to say can he turn. The only guy who needs to turn it around is like the only team is Milan. they
Yeah.
they play Venezia. They're gonna win. Like if you don't beat Venezia, then yeah, people need to get sacked already. Like it's that bad, you know. But it's kind of a shit show over there. They don't look good. I don't think they did anything really in the transfer window. And when your two main guys are actually hating on the coach on live TV, then on match day 3, then you have a massive issue. No, I mean, it's actually crazy that you have Leao and Theo Hernandez actually in this situation in match day 3. Being a new coach, those are your kind of your main guys, and they don't like you. It's gonna be hard to recover from that. It's gonna be really hard to recover from that.
You need players that are going to basically bleed for that black badge to play these games. And these two guys look like, they're closer to stepping on it. It's not good. They need to beat Venezia because it's not going to get, easier for them. They play Liverpool and then us. Lecce should be winnable, but then Leverkusen, Fiorentina. So, they're not the hardest fixture list, but, a non-win against Liverpool in the Champions League, followed by a thumping against us. Look, to be honest, man, be honest with me. Fonseca's just, it's not a matter of if, bro. It's a matter of when. He's not sticking around too long.
I like him, by the way, as a coach. I really do like his idea, but it's game day 3, and you're like, your main guys don't like you. That's not a good sign. Like, that's actually an unbelievable sign. And the weird part is there's not really too much fuss about it during the international break. If this was happening, if I had, or if Locatelli or Vlahovic were standing on the sideline not talking to Motta, man, the 2 weeks of international break will be insane. They will be intense. So I'm not sure why that was on Milan side, but I didn't pick anything up from that, to be honest. But man, match day 3, and you're in this situation, and actually they should have lost against Torino as well on opening day. Like, I'm not sure how Torino gave that up. Like, that was just weird, because they were in total control. It could have been much worse. It could have been much, much worse. So actually, they should be thrilled with the situation they're in right now, because it should have been worse.
2 points from 9, it's Serie A is the sort of league where if you're going to go behind by double digits early in the season, you forego any chance at running towards a title. Are you willing to put them out of the title race already at match day 3?
I don't think they're going to be in a title race. And that's nothing to do with match day 3. I think just a squad. I don't think it's good enough to be in a title race. If you look at your squad and where you were at, and just look at our squad, and I'm going to put pressure on. I'm not saying we're going to win it, because, and again, we made a lot of changes, but
you've spent the money. You've spent the money.
Quality-wise, we have a lot of quality. Like, we spent the money we probably were planning to spend over 2 summers, but we did it in 1. So quality-wise, they're not better than us, and definitely not better than you. And then you have Napoli who don't have a good squad, but I think they have a better coach. So I don't think they're going to be in a title race. I think every Milan fan will probably kind of agree with that. No, even at the start of the season, if your biggest signing is, if your biggest money signing is Emerson Royale, then I cannot really, give you any real hope, to be honest. Like, I know we played okay apparently, but he's not a good player. He's not going to save you guys. He's not going to save you.
Ants in the house is one of our, resident guests, Milan fan. Also very realistic and critical. A management should have never signed Emerson Royale. Yep, don't get me wrong. Management deserves their criticism for waiting too long to sign players, but Fonseca deserves his criticism for how we have defended the first 3
I agree.
games. Yeah,
against Parma, it was insane. It was insane against Parma. They were going to cut. They were going to full attack, and Parma just killing them, and they kept doing it, and I'm like, dude, like, you're gonna lose that game. And they lost that game because he didn't address anything.
Yeah,
that's on him, by the way. That's on him.
Yeah, thank you very much for the donation, Steve. I really appreciate it. And let me know what sort of content you're doing this weekend, if I can jump into any watch along for any Premier League at the convenient times on a Saturday night here for us. Try and enjoy a little bit of English action at an early time. Besides that, I think, we've spoken about us to a fair bit. I wouldn't mind just talking a little bit about Torino. I think Torino's had a pretty good start to the season. I think that, if there's one thing Ivan Juric left behind, bro, it was that little bit of grit and that little bit of tenacity in a group of athletes that knew how to carry it on and adapting well to, a new set of tactics, but not an overall new philosophy of tactics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've seen tougher transitions in Serie A and in football, and it looks like Torino's taken this one pretty smoothly.
Yeah, they're good. I have the finishing at least in the top 10, probably even higher. I know the Torino fans were on the doorsteps of Cairo, and they still want him out because he didn't
Yeah.
do too much. But they're always going to be. You know what it is with Torino? They're one of those teams when in April, for some reason, you open the standings and you're like, they're 9. How?
Yeah.
Like they're just not. You didn't even notice them. You're not gonna wake up to watch a Torino game because it's not fun to watch. But for
Yeah.
some reason, you're like, oh, they're 9. Probably when you play them, you look them up and you're like, oh, they're 9. Insane. That's the type of team they are. They look good start of the season.
Yeah.
They really like Ricci. That's probably like I've been pushing that train for 2-3 seasons, and finally it's arriving. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, they're
Each
a
as
good team.
well.
Yeah,
Each as well is in form. He's going to have a great season. Zapata, is it just me or is Zapata looking lean and
he's
athletic
looking
and
sharp.
looking?
Yeah.
Yeah, looking like he's faster now than he was 3 years ago. Man, he's sprinting a little bit. He's just sharp. Yeah, Sol Coco is enjoying some time. As a progressive defender. Even Valentino Lazzaro is playing well. So
Yeah,
I
he's
think they
playing
can.
excellent.
I think they can definitely continue it on. Like you said, finishing in the top half of the table, I think is definitely their objective. They actually play at 11 p.m. tomorrow against Lecce. 11 p.m. my time, which I won't be watching on a Sunday, 11 p.m. That's for sure. I think we can move on from this topic in Serie A. And so yeah, the last time we spoke, we were just a couple of weeks away from deadline day. Well, now we're about a couple of weeks post deadline day. You guys definitely the biggest movers and the biggest spenders in the market. However, a nice little late show for Antonio Conte. Definitely ins and outs there as well, but definitely a crazy transfer window for you guys. So I'll let you take the mic on this one first of all.
Yeah, like we almost did what we did more than I was expecting, like way more than I was expecting. Like my biggest criticism is the back line. We didn't get the main target. Again, people on my channel like that was not a main target. It was like when you were chasing Calafiori and you had an agreement with him since I don't know early May, and then you were on the brink of signing Todibo. That's because it was a main target. You wanted to address that, and we needed to address that. And that Roma game showed why we needed to address that, but it didn't happen. You signed Kalulu, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. But if Motta's like, I can work with it for a season, then fine, I guess. But the big one is that midfield, like we threw it out and we brought it completely new in, basically. You spent big on coal miners, Douglas Luiz, Thuram, McKennie stayed for some reason. Locatelli you're hoping that he's a new player under Motta. Fagioli wasn't there all season because of the suspension. So he's back. So we have an entire new midfield. And then we did what we had to do with the wingers. You bring in Conceição, you bring in Nico Gonzalez. So we addressed that. And yeah, man, like we did what I was expecting us to do over 2 transfer windows. We all did it in one. And we moved a lot of players out. Some of them stayed, some of them on loan, but the wages are gone. That's kind of an issue for next season. The only one who sticked around is Arthur, but he will be out in January, 100%. But other than that, it's fantastic. Did I prefer other players? Yeah, but the profiles were what we needed. Wingers, a player in midfield who actually will add something in goals. Gold miners. Douglas Luiz is just an added bonus. Turan, I think that's a very smart signing. And yeah, man, like I cannot complain. I cannot complain. Like we did what we had to do. And now it's up to Motta to, I don't know, find the right 11, I guess, because he got them in late. He got them in very late, especially the key players. I actually met Colt Miners when I was in Torino. He was in the city. He was walking. You're on mute. I think you're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, I read it when you
I
when you
met him.
tweeted it, I think.
I met him and he was confused that he got recognized because he was just in town. But I mean, that's how fresh it was. Like he was just in town, just about, and he chucked them on against Roma. That was definitely never gonna work. But yeah, man, we got the players in. Now it's up to Motta to put them in the right positions. Because we Giuntoli did what like more than anyone could imagine, like way
Yeah.
more. So I cannot really complain, to be honest.
I wanted to talk a little bit about Napoli's transfer market with you because it was pretty bizarre. And even when it
Yeah.
closed in Italy, it still wasn't over yet because we found out that Istanbul came calling, Galatasaray came calling for Osimhen. To me, it was weird because I thought Antonio Conte would have been like, I don't know, let's make it work, even if it's just for a few months. I mean, I've got a wrecking ball in Lukaku and a wrecking ball in Osimhen, but I really can't believe the way this has turned out in the end. What did you make of the whole saga? Because there's some people that think that De Laurentiis, stood staunch for good reasons. Galatasaray will foot the wage bill for a little bit, and then Osimhen will still go. Some club will pay the release clause, which is still a very, very healthy amount. What did you make of the whole thing, man? And how do you think Napoli is going to adjust?
Well, the media can spin it how they want. De Laurentiis fucked up. Like he lost. It's just like if a player who was worth almost 100 million a year ago is now on loan at Galatasaray, nobody can tell me he won. Like both, everybody lost. Like the only one who won is Galatasaray. They won.
Yeah.
Osimhen lost. De Laurentiis definitely lost. The release. Nobody's gonna pay that release cost. On top of that, Osimhen wants his money. He's getting that money from Napoli, and for his next move, he wants that big money. And every team right now knows the situation. De Laurentiis lost. Like he lost. I don't know how to spin that. It's weird. And even for Osimhen, I cannot explain that. Like that needs to be a book or a film, like something. There needs to be a movie. A movie needs to be made about that because that that was actually insane. From signing to, was it Al Nasser or Al Hilal?
Al Hilal, yeah.
Yeah, for insane money to waiting on Chelsea to, I'm like, and the news reports that came out, those were even weird, about being locked up like and stuff like that. Not was it didn't allow them to talk to Chelsea. Like, it was weird. Like it's just
Very weird.
And the
Very
funny
weird.
thing is, the moment he signed for Galatasaray, you had Italian media saying fantastic from De Laurentiis. I'm like, what did I miss? Oh, he stood his ground. He stood his ground on losing insane money. That's not good. Like, if I have a player in my team, let's say Vlahovic, and he wants out, everybody knows he wants out, and there's a possibility to make that money, and at the end of the day, we need to loan out Vlahovic to Besiktas, I'm not going to come on and be like, Giuntoli, amazing, you cook. You didn't cook. Like, you didn't, because what's the point? Next season, he's coming back. Even if he has a good season at Galatasaray, I'm sorry, nobody's going to pay 100 million euro for a player who did well in the Turkish league. With all due respect, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, fair. Another bizarre transfer was McTominay, bro. McTominay was one of the most bizarre transfers I've seen to Napoli. The price as well, I thought, was just out of this world. As someone who watches Manchester United week in, week out, and sees him come on for 15 minutes, it's absolutely bizarre. I don't know what they're going to get out of him unless he's just going to, you know what? He's probably going to turn into like a hybrid of our fans will know this, like a Vecino Gagliardini like player in midfield for Antonio Conte. But with the Lukaku signing coming in and Buongiorno holding the back line and Conte only needing to focus for another 35 games this season, I think they're a threat, man. I'm still ready to put them down as the only other threat besides you guys to us. What do you think?
No, I'm not gonna do it. I know it's
Can't
a one game season. No, I can't. Like, I cannot go into a Napoli game. I'm like, oh my god, they have McTominay and Gilmore in midfield. I just can't. I refuse to do that. And maybe I'm being disrespectful, but I refuse to do that. I really refuse to do that. And that back line, yes, Buongiorno, but have you peeked at the rest? Have you seen the rest? Like the other three players playing at that back line or whatever. Like, no, I'm sorry. And Lukaku, Yeah, like that's his guy, but I don't know, man. I don't see it happening. I don't. I
Mm,
don't think that's a good squad. Yes, and he rightfully so was pissed. Also, I refuse to believe that he is sitting there and be like, "Man, McTominay and Gilmore, fantastic." I can't. I just
yeah.
can't. I cannot see it. Like
It's
if he pushes, if he pushes you guys because you're the favorites, Let's say we Gilmore and McTominay midfield, insane. I
mm,
know people like I saw people saying, "Oh, but when he came into Juve first season, it was the first season." I'm like, "Yeah, but yeah, Pirlo in midfield still. Like, like he still had Pirlo in midfield. Yeah, Buffon in goal. Yeah, the Piero in the team. Like it's different. Like it was unbelievable what happened, but like that was insane quality still. Right now, McTominay and Gilmore, I cannot rate that. I'm sorry.
yeah. Yeah, fair. For our window, obviously, from what we spoke about last time to now, not much happened. The only thing that we're really excited for now is the fact that Zielinski is pretty much fit, and I think a lot of people have pretty much forgotten, unless you are an Inter fan, that we've got Zielinski just waiting to happen, and I think that's what we're really excited for, and I think we're going to see him against Monza this week, which does bring us to match day 4. So if we can really take something positive out of our mercato. I really do think that it's going to be Zielinski. Was there any other things in the transfer market that you wanted to touch on, or can we move on to match day 4?
We can move. Someone said Neres will do damage. I'm not the big Neres fan, but he will do. He do well in Serie A. He will do well.
Yeah, fair. Match day 4. Let's do something fun. Let's do some predictions. Let's actually get the fixtures up on the screen. Let's see how many we can get right, man. I forget last time. Did we predict the match day last time?
No, we didn't.
Well, now that we've actually seen the teams bomb out there for 2 games, we can definitely do that. Something inside me, brother, says that Cornwall's going to pull something out of the bag. I've just got a vision of their fans like celebrating, and I don't know,
They
man.
play.
Bologna look crappy. They look crappy.
Yeah, they don't look. They don't look all that good. But
I'm
Nordi.
gonna watch. I'm gonna watch this one as well. It'll be straight after the Manchester United game. So yeah, I'll
Have you
message you with how it is.
have you watched Como against us? Probably not.
No,
Uh,
I didn't. I didn't watch Como against you guys.
yeah, that that was poor, and I'm being nice. That was actually shocking. That was shocking. That was not good. But yeah, Bologna are not a good form. I'm gonna go with a draw.
Yeah.
Think like a boring 1-1, no.
Yeah, that's what Steve's saying as well. And Steve's sometimes on the ball as well with this stuff. So I might go for that as well. Empoli versus you guys. Look, as much as I'd like to say that Empoli can hold down a fort and cop the beating that Thiago Motta dishes out and catch you guys on the break, I just don't see it happening. I think you guys will punish it twice before they get one back. So 2-0 for me to you guys. What about you?
Yeah, I was winning 2-0 as well.
Yeah, so does Steve. Got Ant saying Como 1-1 Bologna. Ant, carry it away for us. Keep it going. Milan Venezia. I mean, like Ale said, if you don't win this game, it's just unfortunately it's just Sack City. You can't get past this, bro. So surely Fonseca gets his first win here. I'm actually gonna go 3-1 to Milan.
Yeah, same. 3-1.
3-1 sounds about right. Genoa to Roma. That game will be nice for me to watch. That's nice and convenient for me to wind down on a Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. Genoa versus Roma. I think that maybe Roma might turn it on in this game a little bit. I'm gonna go for two. It's not going to be pretty because Genoa is a tough place to go, but I'm going to go 2-1 Roma, and I can see it being late. A late goal to win it.
I'm gonna go 1-0 Roma. I
1-0
think
Roma.
they will just win it. It's not going to be a pretty game, like you said, but 1-0.
Yeah, fair enough. Anthony's a little bit more conservative for Milan against Venezia. Lucas predicts more goals for Roma and Genoa. Atalanta Fiorentina, arguably the most entertaining fixture on this card. I think Gasperini gets the job done here. I think Atalanta needs some points. They need some points.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 3-1.
I was gonna say 2-1, 2-1 or 2-0, but now that I think about it, I think Fiorentina do grab a goal, so I'll go 2-1. Torino versus Lecce is interesting. Lecce haven't made the worst start to the season, and they'll make life difficult, but I can see Torino winning this game 1-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-0. Lecce, I mean, if they stay up again this season, amazing. Amazing. They don't have a good squad, to be honest.
No,
Not the
they didn't
worst,
have
but not a good squad.
they didn't have a good squad last season.
No, that's why I said if they
Yeah.
manage to do it again, amazing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Cagliari host Napoli, which I can see that game being slightly difficult for Napoli because at the end of the day, Conte's not going to change his brand. It's still
No.
going to be stubborn. It's still going to take time for the goals to come. I still remember that Scudetto in 2020. A lot of games where you had to sit there tapping your foot on the floor. Minute 60, 65, 70, 75. It'll come, it'll come, it'll come. And yes, it does end up, it does arrive eventually. I can see it 2-1 to Napoli or 1-0 to Napoli.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1-0 as well.
1-0 with a Lukaku goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Monza and us. I don't think it's going to be easy. I can actually see Monza coming out of the gates and, possibly even grabbing an early goal. But other than that, once we pick up momentum, I'm hoping we can put the sword to them 2-1 or 3-1 to us.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-0. I don't think it will be much difficult away to Monza. Like they lost too much. They lost way too much this summer for them to actually do something.
Side conversation. Do you rate Daniele Maldini and what do you think his ceiling is in football?
This. if Monza is like if people think Monza is like a mid-table-ish team, I think this. He's nothing like he's not bad, but I don't think he has anything special. Yeah, so this.
Parma Udinese. Udinese made a good start to the season as well. We didn't speak much about them today.
I think they have a good squad, Udinese. I know last season was insane, and even like the squad was not that poor. But I'm gonna go. Oh, this one is tough.
If there's gonna be a goalless draw on this card, it could be this one or the Torino Lecce.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. I'm gonna go 0-0. I'm gonna go 0-0.
Yeah, this is good stuff. Another team we didn't talk about, well, both of them, Lazio, Verona. Verona have had a decent start, but they'll drop points. But Lazio, like I knew that they were going to be this shit this season, but they're going to be bad, bro. This is a bang average Lazio side, bro.
Really? Because I'm not gonna get names, but when they won the first game, people are hyping it up, pressing, amazing. I'm like, nah, that team is rubbish.
That team is rubbish, bro.
That's a typical Lazio team where you look at that 11 and bench, you're like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? They always bring up a player. I'm like, where do they find these players? Like, really?
Yeah.
And one of them might bang out of the entire 22 squad, and that's it. They're not good, man. I think 1-1.
Bro, they're not good. And anytime someone brings up Castellanos to me, I think to myself, oh yeah, the MLS player. Yeah, no worries. Pedro Rodriguez isn't going to get you out of anything. And, Guendouzi is just not that good. Tavares is not that good.
They don't have a good squad, Abs.
No, they don't. They don't. When did they sign? They signed Castrovilli for just this season, right? He didn't play for them last season, like in the second half of last season.
I forgot he was still playing, to be honest. And that's not a knock. I remember the hype, but what even happened to him?
Yeah. I know that they picked him up for cheap. I remember reading it in a tweet, but then just putting it down and not paying attention to it whatsoever. So there you go. Did you even know he was at Lazio?
Yeah, I read it, but also like between the lines, it's not gonna make headlines. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they don't have a good squad, man. It's one of those teams. It's just boring to watch as well because they don't have any excitement in that team at all.
Yeah. Moving on to our last topic and something that is exciting. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the new format. I don't think I'm as excited for it to come around now as I was traditionally. Maybe it's just because you and I are getting older and we're just going to be a little bit grumpier with change. But Champions League is back. Oh, guess what? You're back in it as well. You feeling good or
Yeah,
what?
that's why I'm excited. We
Mm.
weren't there last season, not because of the players' fault or Allegri's fault at the time. But it was even worse last season because when we lose a game, we needed to wait another week to again lose a game or not win a game. And now it's more games. The new format. It's yeah, we play group stage games in January, so that's a new format. I think the last week of January we're still playing group stage. It's insane, but that's the format. More games. I don't think we have a very easy group or like 8 teams. I think we have a difficult one, but I'm not gonna complain. I don't have like just make it into the next round, the playoff round. That's my expectations. I don't. We're not gonna win it before we actually think about Europe. We just need to establish ourselves in the Serie A again. I think that's the first step. But I'm excited. I really am excited. Also because we play Bruges. That's like a 2-hour drive.
Oh, cool.
Lille,
Good for you, man.
Lille. That's like a 1 hour and a half drive is even closer, which is weird because that's in France and Bruges is in the
Jeez.
same country. So that's maybe the excitement. But yeah, some good games like Villa, Stuttgart, some fun games. City, Man City at home. Yeah, we're gonna get tested. So I'm actually looking forward to it because I'm going into the game not with so much stress because I don't have high expectations for us. Like when we
You
were
sh-
good a couple of years back, I would actually physically almost feel sick, going into the games. I'm not gonna lie. Like I
yeah.
will, like my stomach will turn when I was watching Champions League games this season. I was like, yeah, whatever will happen. So
You should
I'm
do
excited.
a couple. You should do some footage, man. Do a couple of vlogs at the games that you go to, bro. Because that'll be awesome. It'll be good
I'm
for your
trying.
channel.
Yeah, it's not easy. Like
Yeah,
Bruges,
I know.
like their away end is like 900 people.
Uh,
That's poor. Like that's probably
yeah. What's the
impossible.
capacity? What's the capacity of that stadium? Do you know?
At the top of my head, 24, probably. Lille. I already have potential tickets for Lille, but it's
Yeah.
in the home end, not in the away end. So if I'm desperate, I'm probably gonna take those. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
stay quiet.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's close. It's very close to home. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. New format. I get it. Probably a lot of confusion. I think this will be a very good first season because I think nobody really knows how to manage it because now we don't have we pick up a point against Man City at home. That's cool. Let's see what we can do away from home. There's no away from home. Like it's done. It's more games. You cannot really make some calculations. Oh, 1 point away from home and we win at home. That's good. We're on top. You cannot do that right now. Like you just can't. So I think it's gonna make for a lot of excitement, confusion. I think more teams will go for it, especially early on, because you have more games. I think people will just go for it.
Yeah.
They
Fair.
will.
Um, what's your prediction? I know it's very tough, man. But do you predict a win against PSV?
Yeah, I predict a win.
Let's have a
They're a
look at
good
who
team.
they've got.
They're a good
Who
team.
have they got? I know that they smashed it in the Eredivisie last season, so yeah, you got to
Say
be careful. Be
they scored
careful.
15 goals already.
Already
They're
this season?
Yeah, 3 games. They won 7-1. Again, it's the Eredivisie. Steve watches the Eredivisie, so he knows how it is. It's very open. Like there's
Yeah,
nobody does defense there. It's
yeah,
just.
yeah, yeah.
But they will come at us. I think they will play in our hands. By the way, they will come at us. But we should be beating PSV. Like if you have any ambition, like you have Aston Villa away. Like away games are not. It's gonna get tougher, than PSV, in my opinion. So we need to open it up because the next game is Leipzig away, which is going to be tough. Leipzig away. So you need to beat PSV.
Yeah.
I'm confident we will as well. Who do you guys have? I didn't.
So our first game is actually against City, man.
You play City as well
Yeah, yes, we
at
do.
home or away?
We go away for the first
Ooh,
fixture. Hold on, let me get it up on the screen for us.
there.
So yes.
Usually, Man City start off slow, but they started like a house on fire this season,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's
bro.
without Rodri and Foden.
Yeah, they're a different hack at the moment. So we play City, Cervanovets, Red Star. I can't wait for that one, man. And our moderator and friends of the channel, Mattia, yeah, he'll be around there for that one because he's in Belgrade. Young boys, Arsenal. I'm really looking forward to this one, bro. I'm really looking forward to. I haven't seen Inter play Arsenal since we played them. I was in primary school, man. I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I remember in the first game we beat them 3-0. And in the return game, they smacked us like 5-1 or something. I remember
Oh,
watching Obafemi Martins do like backflips, like as a primary school kid. We're on like a school excursion or field trip, whatever people want to call it. First ever overnight one to our state capital. It was like a 3-hour bus ride. Yeah, I'm telling this story. I don't care. And we're getting there, and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and me and four friends, like, we think it's awesome because we're young and we haven't stayed up this late before. And there's this tiny TV in the corner, and I'm just sitting there watching Inter smack the shit out of Arsenal. 3-0, and Obafemi Martin's doing backflips. And it's one of my first memories as an Inter fan watching something cool. And that's the last time Inter came toe-to-toe with Arsenal in competitive competition. That's a long time ago, bro. I think it's
actually,
like 20,
same for you.
25 years.
I think, man, it could be even longer for Juve that we face Arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, especially because they're good. They're good. They're competitive. Like, we've got, if there's one good thing about this particular Champions League draw, it's that it should keep our boys and your boys quite sharp in Serie A, as opposed to the regular format of the Champions League where you might be seated. Look, one thing's for sure, there are no advantages to being in pot one at the moment. I refuse to believe that. So God forbid we reap any benefits from that. So it's not like we're going to have fixtures where, I'm just going to throw hypothetical names out there, where your toughest opponent might be Benfica, and then it's Rangers
Yeah.
and Olympiacos and Young Boys, or it's Leverkusen and then it's Olympiacos and Lille. These are games that are going to keep us a little bit sharper domestically, I think, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, City is tough. Arsenal is not easy. Leipzig is also not easy, but you have them at home, which is good, I guess. Leverkusen is probably, it's not going to be easy, but I think they're good games. They're good games. Like, we have tough games as well. Like, we play the teams Allegri fans dislike last season. Aston Villa, Stuttgart, the PSV, like teams who play Leipzig, who practice football. Maybe that's good for us as well. I'm just excited. No matter, like, I probably will come out and be like, oh my god, embarrassing. But I mean, yeah, we haven't had it last season, and it was tough. One game a week for an entire season. On top of that, we were rubbish. Like, it didn't help. Like, it just was even worse. Watching Champions League games and knowing we're not playing, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And we kick it off on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
with the
true.
first
You
game.
guys do kick off. That's good. That's good. It's impossible to pick it, but who would you say the main front runner? Well, you can't even ask who the front runners are. It's an obvious question these days. I'll ask the question in a different way. Can anybody besides Manchester City and Real Madrid win the Champions League?
Yeah, definitely. Who? I think it's way too early to say, but it can happen, especially with this format. It can happen. It can really happen. But they're obviously the favorites. They're the favorites, especially Real Madrid. Even when they're rubbish this lately or whatever, like early on the season, or not good enough, you know what they will do. For some reason, they will find a way. But I think Inter can go far as well. Like, why not? Arsenal, if they have everything fit and ready, they can make a run. I think Bayern with company can make a good run. Probably a very slim squad, not that packed. Bayern, maybe that could be an issue, but if people stay fit at the right time, I think they can have a shot. I think PSG look good, better so far than what I've seen last season. But why not? Why not?
Yeah. Thanks, man. Bro, we've been going for over an hour. I think that's wrapped up another good show, another good episode. We had a high of about 37, 38 people here at one point, which was very nice. Thank you to everybody that came through. Thank you to Steve for the donation, Debbie Kerr for gifting a membership. And thank you so much to my co-hosts, Ale, for coming on to Inter Worldwide today for the second episode of Touchline Talk. I think that we're able to cover a lot of culture in a very short amount of time.
Yeah. It's too bad there's 2 weeks of international break. The next show is just pure football. A lot of football. So we'll probably have a lot more to talk about next time around.
Definitely more fixtures, more matches, more incidences to talk about. That's for sure. But yeah, please, guys, make sure links in the description. I'm sure you've all subscribed already to the Bianconeri Zone. If you haven't, head over there right now, subscribe, turn your notification bells on, and make sure you're tuning in to all of their content. And stick with us here at Inter Worldwide. Plenty of content to come in the next few days. I will be back post Monza, hopefully with a smile on my face. Thank you once again to Alejandro and everybody in the chat. Ciao.
Ciao.